What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3 and Out YouTube page. I'm John Middlekauff, and we are talking football all day, every day. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends. Let's roll, baby. Okay, Kauff on campus, which I can't imagine being on as a student because I don't know how much money you'd have to pay me to attend a class. I can't imagine doing homework, taking tests. So props to everyone that's in school right now that is doing homework and taking tests because that's hard. Number one, Kauff on campus. We got a sweet game this week, like an incredible game on paper. Oklahoma, Tennessee. Now, Oklahoma, they're in the top 15, but they got a lot of injuries. They have not been that great this season, but they're playing in Norman, Oklahoma. And Tennessee looks like, could they be a sleeper national champion team? They just played Kent State, beat them like 700-0. But to me, the cool part about this game, Bob Stoops put out a tweet at the beginning of the week that said, I will not be doing interviews. Why would he do that? Well, Venables, the coach at Oklahoma, was his assistant for 13 years. Josh Heupel was the quarterback for the Oklahoma team that won Bob Stoops' national championship and then became a coach and later became his offensive coordinator, who Bob Stoops ended up firing. And he kind of fired Venables too, / pushed him out when he made his brother after Mike Stoops was fired from Arizona where Nick Foles was playing and came back to Oklahoma. So they have this weird connected tissue here of all these coaches. And Josh Heupel, who you get some different reviews from scouting buddies that have gone through his programs over the year, big chip on his shoulder guy. Now, he was a lowly recruited guy who really only Mike Leach believed in, who went on to become a national championship college quarterback and become a really, really good college coach. Has a potential to become maybe a top 5 coach if Tennessee this year is like in the Final Four. But we finally are getting these Oklahoma and Texas SEC games, and it's going to be really fun. And this game, the hype between Venables and Josh Heupel, for years in practice as the OC and the DC in the 2000s and early 2010s went against each other every day in practice. I can't imagine how much time these two humans have spent together in staff meetings, in staff recruiting trips, just around each other on the field, workouts. Like, these guys know each other really, really well. And it's all connected with Bob, who is like the spokesman for the university. So very, very excited for this game on Saturday. Will Arch Manning ever give back his starting spot? Quinn Ewers just randomly gets injured. It was a non-contact injury against, I think they were playing UTSA. I was not even planning on watching the game. And then I see on the internet, Arch Manning's in the game. So I immediately turn on the game. Now, let me say this. The game against Michigan, whether you were in on Quinn Ewers or not, you could not watch that game and not say, they can win a national championship with this player, and he's clearly a high-end NFL prospect. So he's really good. Like, I watched him last year. I wasn't sold as some top 10 pick, as some guy that just was some lock you could win the Natty with. The guy that he had become this year, I'm not saying he didn't have moments, but that game at Michigan, I was like, I'm in. From a consumer standpoint, from a fan basis standpoint, from a national standpoint, it's a tough spot for Quinn Ewers because no one wants to see him play when that's his backup. If his backup was Arch Middlekauff, it would not be the same. Hey, he's the number 1 overall recruit. He's getting paid a bunch of NIL. It'd be like, when Quinn is ready, go back to him. But what do? They don't know how long he's going to miss, but let's just say he misses the next 2 games. They play, I think, Louisiana Monroe and then Mississippi State, which they'll probably blow both those 2 teams out. What if he's ready to go heading into the Oklahoma game? Because they go back-to-back Oklahoma and then Georgia. And even if Texas is a lot better than Oklahoma, I mean, that's why you play at Texas, to play in that game. How do you bench that player? And Arch is going to say all the right things. He would gladly go back. But I think this is a tough spot for Sark. And at this point, if Arch is rolling and Quinn's like, yeah, he could go this week, I wonder what happens. I really do. Because this is not a position where it's not like Quinn was going to come back to school after this year. He's gone. So I do think that makes the decision easier. And I think if Arch is running around throwing a bunch of touchdowns and they just look exactly like they've done with Quinn, I'd be a little stunned if they went back to him. And the shitty part for Quinn, who looked like he was about to have a massive season, become like probably win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think anyone wants to see him again. Florida State. Did we jinx Florida State? I think that is the question. We had on my guy, Derek Ray, who is the GM. They had just gone 13-1. They have not won a game. They have not won a game. And they have looked terrible. And the problem for them is they play Cal this week. Cal is 3-0. Their superstar running back, who's a top 50 pick if he's healthy, has been banged up, barely played. But their quarterback has been awesome. As of today, Cal is better than Florida State. If you go 0-4, even if Cal is better than you, like they've already lost to worse teams than Cal. But if you lose this team from Berkeley with a lot of weird shit going on, and they roll into Tallahassee and beat you and kind of beat your ass, which is very possible, like shove you around by 10 plus points, things are going to get weird, and they're going to get weird fast there. Now, Mike Norvell, his buyout's like $65 million. He doesn't deserve, even with a terrible season, to get fired. College football is crazy, man. It really is. It's what have you done for me lately? And he, rightfully so, is going to take a lot of shit for DJ. Because DJ, he doesn't even look like a Division I starter. Not even remotely close. He's one of the worst players I've watched this season at quarterback in college football. He's like unplayable. You can't function with the guy. So you lose to Cal, things are clearly already weird. It starts getting really weird really fast. This is just an awesome game. Even if Michigan is down and they just started Orgy, the quarterback, who can't really throw, but he can run, and USC, we don't know quite how good they are, but USC, Michigan, this is why, and my fifth one is the conference realignment. They kind of tie into each other. I miss the Pac-12. It sucks. Texting with my cousin who played at Fresno State, we were texting a lot about like how anticlimactic is it that Fresno State finally gets invited to the Pac-12, where they've been dying to get in for 30 years, and it feels like a shittier deal than just staying in the Mountain West. Because you can call, I could call this podcast Apple Incorporated or Nike. I'm not Nike or Apple. You can call it the Pac-12, but the moment USC and UCLA left, it died. It's over. You don't have a valuable property. No one cares about Corvallis and Pullman, Washington, in terms of like these networks aren't lining up to give you more money. Your value is your value, and it's not very high. The value of the Pac-12 was in USC, was in UCLA, was in Oregon, was in Washington. They don't exist. Salt Lake City's in the Big 12. Colorado's in the Big 12. The Arizona schools are never coming back. You're done. It's over. And it's sad. It makes me sad still. But it happened, and I got to embrace it. So you get USC, Michigan. I'm not like some SEC guy because I grew up on the West Coast, but like Texas, Georgia being a conference game is pretty cool. Oklahoma, Tennessee being a conference game is pretty cool. And USC, Michigan, even if it's not the Harbaugh-led national champions, it's not the same. That's sweet. And it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't. Like Oregon playing Ohio State and saying that's a conference game is weird. It just is. UCLA playing Rutgers as a conference game is weird. But you just got to embrace it. There's one school watching Arizona, Kansas State last week. It was like, you know what Arizona does? Feels like a Big 12 school. They really do. They are probably the lone school that has made this transition, you're like, that completely fits. You can say Colorado because they used to be in the conference, but like they've been in the Pac-12 for a while now. I've gotten used to seeing Colorado play Oregon, Washington State, Cal, like those games. Like I kind of got used to it. I forget when I was a kid and Colorado was playing the Texas A&Ms and Nebraskas, right? So like my mind, like to me, Arizona, they feel right at home in the Big 12. USC, Michigan feels a little weird as a conference game. Oklahoma, Georgia, or Texas, Florida as a conference game, like that's a little weird. It just is. But we're now in the conference play, and we're going to get a lot of these. You know, it's just going to be part of our weekly Saturdays where it's like Nebraska's playing Washington for a conference game. Like, yeah, that's what happens. That's where we're at. So let's enjoy it.